What you just heard were the last few seconds of a life that, by every law of physics and probability, should have ended right then. This is the story of a single, near-suicidal decision made in the crucible of war. A story of a pilot who flew so low that his wings clipped the treetops, who stared into the faces of his enemies, and who performed what can only be described as the luckiest strafing run in history. Welcome to Top Tier TV. Today, we're diving into one of the most audacious missions of World War II, a moment of sheer, unadulterated chaos that defied all odds. This isn't just a war story, it's a testament to human courage, a little bit of madness, and a miracle in the skies over France. Our story begins in the summer of 1944. The Allies have broken out of the Normandy beachhead. The race across France is on, but the German Luftwaffe, though battered, is still a deadly threat, launching hit-and-run attacks from hidden airfields. One man tasked with silencing these threats was Lieutenant Colonel Bill Harris, a seasoned 25-year-old pilot of the 394th Bomb Group, flying the formidable but unforgiving B-26 Marauder. The Marauder was a fast, rugged medium bomber, but it demanded a pilot's full respect. Called it the Widowmaker for a reason. Harris was a natural leader, known for his aggressive flying and unflappable coolness under fire. He was the kind of pilot you'd want next to you when things went wrong, and on one particular mission, things were about to go very, very wrong. The target, a heavily camouflaged German airfield, a nest of Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs that were harassing Allied ground forces. Intelligence was spotty. They knew it was defended. They just didn't know how heavily. As Harris's formation approached the target, the sky turned black, not with clouds, but with flak. The German anti-aircraft guns had their range. Shells exploded all around, shaking the Marauders violently. Then, the lead plane in the formation was hit, a direct blow. It shuddered, lost speed, and began to fall behind, critically damaged. The mission protocol was clear. If the lead is hit, the deputy takes over, and that deputy was Bill Harris. But to do a standard bombing run from this altitude, through this wall of steel, was a death sentence. They'd be sitting ducks. And in that moment, hovering between life and death, Harris made a decision that would either make him a legend or a statistic. He broke formation. He shoved the control yoke forward and put his Marauder into a near-vertical dive. His crew must have thought he'd lost his mind. A B-26 wasn't a Stuka. It wasn't designed for screaming, near-vertical dives. The airframe groaned. The engines screamed in protest. But Harris had a plan, a terrifyingly simple one. He was going to take the fight down to the deck, so low that the heavy flak couldn't track, so low that he'd be on top of the enemy before they could even blink. He pulled out of the dive at the very last second, leveling out at an altitude that was less than daring. It was insane. We're talking 50 feet, lower than the treetops surrounding the field. He was now flying at near treetop level, a silver shark skimming the grass, moving at over 250 miles per hour. And then he opened up. All 6 forward-firing 50 caliber machine guns roared to life. The sound wasn't just gunfire. It was a continuous ripping tear in the fabric of the world. Tracer rounds streaked ahead, chewing into everything in their path. He flew straight down the main runway. German soldiers, mechanics, and pilots, who moments before were scrambling for cover, were now frozen in sheer disbelief. This wasn't an attack from the sky. It was an attack from eye level. Harris was flying so low, he could see the startled expressions on their faces. He could see the details on the parked aircraft, the swastikas on the tails, the yellow engine cowlings of the Messerschmitts. He was so low that his prop wash kicked up dust storms, so low that his wingtips sliced through the upper branches of trees lining the airfield. Witnesses on the ground swore the plane was actually clipped the treetops, sending a shower of leaves and twigs spiral its way. Inside the cockpit, the crew would have heard the violent thwack, thwack, thwack of branches against the aluminum skin of their aircraft. It was the sound of their own funeral derby written note by note. He strafed the entire length of the field. Fuel trucks exploded in massive fireballs. Parked fighter planes were shredded, their wings shearing off, their fuselages erupting in flame. The chaos was absolute. The Germans couldn't depress their larger anti-aircraft guns low enough to hit him. The small arms fire was frantic, unaimed. He was a lightning bolt, striking and vanishing in the same instant. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. Harris didn't climb. He stayed on the deck, using the terrain for cover, and vanished. The silence that followed inside that plane must have been heavier than the gunfire that preceded it. The adrenaline slowly receded, replaced by the dawning, impossible realization we're still alive. The flight back to base was surely a quiet, a mix of euphoria and shell shock. When they landed and the engines were cut, the true extent of their miracle became visible. The ground crew swarmed the plane, not with cheers, but with disbelief. The wings were scarred and dented. The leading edges were shredded. There were leaves, actual leaves and pine needles, wedged into the radiators and the gun ports. The physical evidence confirmed the unbelievable story. For his actions that day, Bill Harris was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, the nation's second highest military award for valor. It was a recognition of a decision that went beyond bravery, venturing into the realm of the sublime. But this story endures not just because of the medal, but because of the sheer, astronomical improbability. In a war defined by chaos and death, Bill Harris's strafing run stands as a beacon of defiant luck. It was a perfect, violent storm of skill, audacity, and fortune. A moment where a man dared to fly where no one should and live to tell the tale. What do you think? Was it sheer luck, incredible skill, or a combination of both that brought Bill Harris home? I want to hear your opinion in the comments below. Let's get a discussion going. If you were captivated by this story of unbelievable courage, then you need to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We at Top Tier TV are dedicated to bringing you the most incredible, well-told stories from history, and we have so many more to share with. And if you want to help us keep telling these stories, please give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you for watching. Remember the stories, honor the courage. We'll see you in the next video.